I'm Andrew Casale, President and CEO of IndexExchange. I'm thrilled to be here in Cannes with the Advertising Research Foundation.
Hi, this is Mark Rappin, Chief Marketing Officer of the ARF. Our audience is all familiar with programmatic from a conceptual standpoint, but without going through all the details, like header bidding is where you guys are really market leaders. What is header bidding?
Header bidding, it is a much discussed topic. I would say from the marketer or the advertiser side of the marketplace, the way to look at this is a huge change in the supply chain of programmatic. Previously, media companies, so the Condé Nast and the New York Times of the world, would generally select one primary supply-side platform or SSP to represent their marketplaces. And that created interesting challenges in the early days of programmatic, where those marketplaces perhaps didn't have everyone's best interests in mind. Interesting business models developed, particularly business models that may have taken fees away from bids, which is particularly important if you're thinking of the weight of a marketer's wallet, share of voice, things that used to matter before programmatic but are actually starting to matter again. So header bidding has basically been a way that publishers have removed single vendor advantage over operating their marketplaces. So they can now basically exist across multiple markets. So they could work with Index, they could work with another exchange, they could work with 5 exchanges. And that's actually creating new choice that wasn't there before. So a marketer now could actually choose which market to buy any given media company through, whereas before you only had one route, now you have many. And what we're finding is that if you start to look at those routes, there's interesting differences, and the optimal path might not always be what you assume to be obvious. So it's been a huge change. It's a technology, modification more than anything else. It's got a lot of hype. It is just an implementation point, but it has, I think, really reset the supply chain, which is why it's received so much buzz.
Yep. And one of the things, we're looking, with our members across things on the new use of big data and how different data is driving new insights. And for the most part, I think, in the programmatic space, you've taken the brand data and that's helped you make a buy. But do you see it coming around the other way? Do you see there being insights coming out of the programmatic purchases that could drive creative and learning for the brands?
I hope so. There is an incredible amount of data that gets generated every day on the back of programmatic. I think the peak request volume is something in the order of 3 million requests a second. If you think of the number of auctions, the number of data points, the number of audience signals that generates, it's an unbelievably enormous number. It exceeds, like Twitter's biggest day, every second of every day. I don't think we have come even close to unlocking the value of that, but I do think, at least thinking specifically from the supply side where we reside, our media company customers are highly motivated to unlock more of that value.
In the near-term future, what do you think are the trends that are going to really change or affect the marketplace as we move forward?
I would say the biggest trend that is rapidly developing is identity. And specifically looking at identity as something that should be more openly accessible. I think to this point, identity has largely been locked up in a few large platforms that have exceptional scale. But if you look across the landscape, everybody else actually does have their own form of identity. It's just highly fragmented today. So while no single player might match the scale of Facebook, collectively the web is massive. It's enormous. I think we're going to do a better job of organizing identity in such a way that we bring more parity to that element insofar as transacting and targeting, so that it's not controlled by few. I think the market wants it, and I think, quite frankly, consumers want it too.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we terrifically appreciate your time with the ARF. Thanks,
Thank you very much.